Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Thursday morning Bite-Sized Buhl, where we start our day off right with a little bit of astronomy. My name is Kayla. I am the staff educator in the Buhl Planetarium at the Carnegie Science Center. This morning, we're going to be taking a little look at our nighttime sky. We're going to take a look at some of our winter stars. The program we're using this morning is called Stellarium. So if you have this program at home, it is a free software that you can use on your desktop or on your phone as well. You can follow along with me, or you can use these tips outside in the nighttime sky. Now we are currently looking at our night sky as it will appear tonight at 7:30. Now this is a really amazing view. Sadly, if you are in the city, you're going to see a little less stars due to something we call light pollution. Light pollution is what happens when we don't put caps over our city lights. So the lights from the city shine down onto streets, sidewalks, bridges, making it very safe for us to get around. They also shine up into the atmosphere. That light bounces off of dust particles and water vapor, and it lights up our sky, blocking our view of the stars. To get a better view of the stars, you need to travel a little bit away from the city. I recommend about half an hour away from any major city, and you'll get a very similar view to this. And when we're looking up at the night sky, it's a little hard to find your way around. There's a whole lot to look at here. I like to start by playing a little game with the stars. I find a group of stars that are very bright, very easy to see, and I use them to hop to other stars. I call this game star hopping. Now to start our star hopping game, it's very easy. You're going to look for 7 bright stars, 3 stars that look like a handle, and 4 stars that look like a bowl. They're very low on the horizon this time of year. Now we often call this shape the Big Dipper. Now, the Big Dipper is what we call an asterism. It's a star picture that anyone can make up. All you need to do is connect a few dots and give it a name. But asterisms are a little different than constellations. Asterisms are different depending on where you are around the world. Here in the United States, we all agree the Big Dipper looks like a spoon. But if you travel to different parts of the world, they thought it looked like a plow. Others thought it looked like an emperor's chariot or a wagon. It became very hard for astronomers to share information because we were all calling the same region of the sky by a different name. Until the International Astronomical Union created 88 official constellations. These would be recognized by astronomers worldwide. So no matter who you were talking to from around the world, when you used the name of the constellation, they would know what part of the sky you were looking in. The official constellation we find right here at our Big Dipper is Ursa Major, the Big Bear. Now, of course, if we have a Big Bear, you may be able to guess what we'll find right next door. To find one of the most important nighttime stars to find your way around, you're going to use these outer 2 stars in the bowl of the Dipper. You're going to draw a line from this bottom star to this top star and out into space about 5 times the width of those stars until you land here. This is the most important nighttime star if you're trying to find your way around. Its name is Polaris, but you probably know it better as the North Star. And Polaris makes up the tippy tail of Ursa Minor, our little bear. Now, Polaris in our software does appear to be very bright. But in our actual night sky, it's a fairly dim star. On the brightness scale, it's about 48 down. So that means To find it, you count the 47 other brightest stars in the sky, or you can simply use the Big Dipper to help you find it. Once we find it, we know that we are looking north. We can also use it to help us find our latitude, or our distance above the equator when we're looking at the globe. To find your latitude, you'll simply take one hand, your favorite hand, and you'll point up at Polaris. You'll then take your other hand and point straight out towards the horizon until you look like a hungry crocodile. But your hands will be making an angle. Now here in Pittsburgh, we're at about 40 degrees latitude. So we're about 40 degrees above the equator when we're looking at the globe. Another handy way to measure this is to use your hand. In the night sky, if you ball your hand into a fist and hold it out at arm's length, your fist will measure 10 degrees on the night sky. So you can count up how many fists Polaris appears. Now, Ursa Major and Ursa Minor are two of a very special set of constellations that we call circumpolar constellations. It's a very fancy way to say they circle around Polaris. If we moved forward in time, they would create a complete ring around Polaris. Because of that, we can see these constellations all night and all year long. The only thing that changes is their position. Sometimes the Big and Little Dipper will look like this, but other parts of the year the Big Dipper will appear on the top, or to the left, or to the right. This depends on what time of year and time of night you're looking up. But we want to take a look at some seasonal constellations, ones that we'll only see this time of year. To do that, we need to look in the opposite of the north, which is the south. So we're going to spin our direction here so that we're looking towards the southern sky. This is where all of the action happens throughout the year. This part of the sky is constantly changing. And I want to start our tour of our southern sky by locating what I would argue is the most famous constellation. He's very easy to spot. You just need to find the 3 stars that form his belt. And when I mention his belt, you may already be able to guess. This is Orion, the hunter. Now, Orion is considered a winter constellation because he appears in our early evening sky in December, and he sticks around until the end of March. Orion is home to 2 very bright and beautiful examples of stars. Located in his shoulder, we have this red star named Betelgeuse. And located in his knee, we have a blue star named Rigel. Now, when we see a star's color, we learn a little bit more about that star. Which do you think is hotter, our red star or our blue star? Red stars like Betelgeuse are very hot. Betelgeuse is about 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit on its surface. But blue stars are even hotter. Rigel is about 20,000 degrees Fahrenheit on its surface. Now our sun falls somewhere in the middle. It's not as hot as a blue star. It's not as cool as a red star. It's about 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit on average on its surface. Now, Orion is not just home to 2 very bright and beautiful examples of stars, it's also home to something we call a deep sky object. This is an object beyond our solar system that you can actually spot using just your eyes. To locate it, we're going to look below the belt of Orion. you want to look about halfway between his belt and his knees, and you should see a fuzzy patch of light right here. This fuzzy patch of light is the Orion Nebula. Nebula are huge collections of gas and dust in space, and they are trillions of miles across. The Orion Nebula is a stellar nursery. This is an area where little baby stars are being born. But how are stars born? Well, it all starts when you have gas and dust floating around in space. That gas and dust will get pulled together by gravity, growing more massive and hotter, so eventually a little star is born. And if you're lucky, soon after, a solar system can form. Now, Orion is also a great guidepost to some of our other winter constellations. As we zoom back out here, if we draw a line down through the belt of Orion, we will come to this bright star named Sirius, found inside of Canis Major, the big dog. Now, Sirius is actually the brightest star in our night sky. And if you happen to be a Harry Potter fan, you may recognize a very famous Harry Potter character that was named after this star. This character is known for transforming into a dog. His name is Sirius Black. Now, we had a big bear, we had a little bear, we have a big dog. Might be able to guess what we'll find right next door. There's two ways you can find this star. You can either swing slightly up and to the left from Sirius, or you can go back to Orion's belt and draw a line to the left. You'll come to a bright star named Procyon, inside of Canis Minor, the little dog. Now, you really need to use your imagination to be able to see a dog out of just two stars. I think it looks a little more like a hot dog than maybe a breed of hunting dog. Now, if we were to draw a line up through the belt of Orion, we would come to another star. This one is bright red. Its name is Aldebaran, which translates to the Eye of the Bull, rightfully named because it's found inside of Taurus, the bull. On the back of our bull, we will find another deep sky object. This one is much easier to see. Let's see if you can pick it out. It looks like a teeny tiny dipper. It's a collection of what appears to be 6 or 7 stars, depending on how good your eyesight is. In ancient times, we called this the 7 Sisters. But we know today there are not 6 or 7 stars in this region. There are actually thousands. This is what we call the Pleiades. It is an open star cluster. Sometimes when stars are forming, they will get pulled together by gravity. They'll move across the universe, similar to a family. Now, the gravity amongst the Pleiades stars is actually very weak, so they're beginning to spread out and away from each other. You'll see this beautiful blue glow around these stars. Now, that glow is not being created by the stars themselves, but the light from the stars bouncing off of what we call a reflection nebula. The light from the stars is bouncing off of the leftover gas and dust from when these stars were forming to give them that beautiful blue haze. Now, you may have recognized Tauros. I bet when I mentioned Tauros, you thought of astrology. In astrology, there are 12 symbols that they call the zodiac, and they're believed to represent different dates of birth. Now, they didn't just randomly pick 12 symbols, they did base it a little in astronomy. They based it off of 12 very special constellations. We're going to zoom out a little bit here. In our night sky that seem to encircle our planet. So once you find one, you can swing towards the east or to the west, and you can find the others that are up during that time of night. Oh, that's not one of the ones we wanted to hit. We wanted to hit this guy right here. There we go. So we can see we have Gemini, Cancer, Aries, Pisces. These constellations fall along a very special path in our night sky that we call the ecliptic, or the apparent path that the sun appears to take from our perspective here on Earth. Now, right now, the sun is positioned in front of Capricornus, the mergoat, so that constellation is up during the day. In other parts of the year, the sun will appear to be in front of Pisces or Tauros. This is how they kind of determined what constellations would represent the different dates of birth. But it's not just the path of the sun that follows this line. We can see so does our moon, and so do the major planets in our solar system. If you're ever wanting to spot a planet in the night sky, you want to make sure you look along the path of the zodiac. Now tonight at 7:30, there is one planet we're going to be able to spot. And a little trick to finding a planet, one of my favorite tricks to use, is you want to look for a bright point of light. Planets often look like bright stars in our sky. But if we watch that bright point of light for several seconds, we can see whether or not it appears to twinkle. Stars appear to twinkle in our night sky, but because planets are so close to us, they don't appear to twinkle. Our atmosphere doesn't create that rippling effect that creates the twinkle that we see with stars. So if you find a light along the path of the zodiac that doesn't appear to be twinkling, you may have just spotted a planet. Now to find our planet tonight, at 7:30, you're almost going to look straight up into the night sky. Once you find Aldebaran, you can look to the right, and underneath Aries, the ram, you'll find Mars, nestled right between its feet. Now Mars in our night sky does appear to have that beautiful red color. We'll zoom in for a closer look. Mars is one of the most explored planets in our solar system. We've sent robots and probes, all types of equipment to learn more about Mars. And currently, there is a mission on its way to Mars right now. There's a little rover named Perseverance, who is flying his way to Mars. We can actually take a little look at how far away he is. I'm going to drag over a website so everyone can see. This is mars.nasa.gov, and we've got the Mars 2020 mission. Now this rover left on July of 2020, and it's going to be arriving February 18th of this year. So not too far away from us now. But we can see just how far away Perseverance is. 267,849,000 miles away from us. And it's only completed about 91% of its journey. So it still has a little ways to go. Now its speed is really impressive. 49,390 138 miles per hour. And this is all speed relative to our sun. Now, Perseverance is equipped with something really impressive. It's equipped with 2 microphones. One of the microphones it's equipped with is to listen to its camera that has laser zaps, so it can tell the material of the Martian surface. But its other microphone, if we pause our music here, is going to be recording what it sounds like to land on Mars. They did their first test. This clip is only about 10 seconds long, but you can hear what it's like to be traveling to Mars. Let's give it a listen. Let's give one more listen here. That's such a short clip. There we go. So that is what it sounds like to be traveling to Mars, which is really amazing. Now, once we start going in for our landing, scientists will be kicking on that microphone so you can hear what it's like to enter the Martian atmosphere, what it's like to land, and what Mars itself sounds like, which is really amazing. Perseverance has a really big job to do. It is preparing soil samples for future astronauts to return back to Earth so that we can learn more about our planetary neighbor. Some of the other things it's going to be doing is assessing signs of potential life on Mars. So we're still looking to see if our planetary neighbor had life. And it's not traveling alone. Perseverance actually has a little travel companion in the form of a softball-sized drone named Ingenuity. Ingenuity will deploy every morning to map out a course for Perseverance's day. This will be the first time that we've flown a drone on another planet, which is truly amazing. I can't wait for this landing to occur. Now turning our focus back to our beautiful red planet here. Right over here we have some of the largest volcanoes in our entire solar system. Mars is home to Olympus Mons, which is 3 times taller than Mount Everest. At the base, it's about as big as the entire country of France. Due to the lack of plate tectonics, like we have here on Earth, Mars, as its volcanoes erupt, they're continuously erupting in the same spot, so that debris keeps building and building upon each other. Now, these volcanoes have been dormant for a very long time. They're still very massive. Here on Earth, due to our plate tectonics, we get chains of islands, like the Hawaiian Islands, which is really amazing. Now, Perseverance will be making its amazing landing on February 18th of this year. So I highly encourage you all to stay tuned, keep learning more about the red planet Mars, and tune in for a live stream on NASA's website so that you can experience this amazing landing and get to hear what it's like to be landing on Mars. Now, I think Mars is an amazing place to end our little bite-sized Buhl this morning. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Make sure you check out NASA's website, learn a little bit more about Perseverance and Ingenuity. We look forward to learning so much more about our planetary neighbor. Make sure you keep looking up at the stars. Stay curious. Thank you all for joining me this morning. Check out the Science Center's Facebook page and our website every day for new information and updates, and maybe check out some things to watch and do. I hope you all have a fantastic Thursday. We'll see you all again soon.